Okay, everybody. So hi, this is a pleasure. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you so much for joining me. I was looking at the chat and I was like, oh my God, thank you for joining from Peru, from Mexico, from Istanbul, from Georgia, from Montenegro, Lithuania, Ukraine, Guatemala. Thank you, really, thank you for taking the time to be here with me today. I hope that you enjoyed the session and that we have fun together, okay? So, well, let's start. Let me just close the chat. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about mastering the 5 competencies of social and emotional learning, okay? So I want to start this webinar with this quote that I found on a book that I was reading. It's time to rethink education from a social and interactive perspective where everybody is understood, recognized, and appreciated. And you know something, I think, and I chose this one because I think it is true. It's true. If we are understood, recognized, and appreciated, we learn, we thrive, and the good thing today is that we can do this through social and emotional learning. So, are you ready to start? Okay, so first of all, I want to start like defining what is social and emotional learning, okay? So from the social part, I want to tell you that our brain is a social organ, and that the main objective of the brain is to keep us alive, okay? And that's why we create bonds or forms of attachment, okay? Since we are born, we need our moms or our primary caregivers to keep us alive, to solve our basic needs, to feed us, to put us to sleep, etc., okay? And so we need others to survive since we are born. And we also need others to survive because we need to belong to a group, okay? So that is very important. And we also know that everything that we learn comes in the brain colored by an emotion, and it can be either positive or negative, okay? So now, negative emotions like fear or anger or sadness and learning are not good friends, okay? Because all that I learn while I am feeling negative emotions is going to be rejected by the brain. Why? Because since we are not feeling pleasure, the brain is going to say, you know something, this, what I'm learning right now, it's not useful. So I'm going to reject it. I can store it in my memory, yes. But every time I remember that thing that I am learning, I am going to feel negative emotions towards that. And then I am not going to want to learn it more or think about it again, all right? Okay, but what happens when we have positive emotions while we are learning? Of joy, of happiness, we feel motivated to learn and we want to learn more. So then I accept that learning, I store that learning in my long-term memory, and I want to continue learning in time. So if I feel positive emotions when I am learning, then I become a long-lasting learner, okay? And that is something that we want to develop in our students, all right? So what happens if we integrate the social and the emotional learning? We feel safe, we feel seen, we feel accepted, loved, okay, with the people that is around us, and we feel relaxed and motivated to learn, okay? So as a result, we learn better and thrive at school and through our lives. That is the magic thing about social and emotional learning, dear teachers, all right? And so how can we develop this type of learning? Through 5 different competencies, okay? So the first one is self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making, okay? Okay, so something that I want to tell you before starting to learn about these competencies is that children will develop them little by little, okay? Don't expect them to just get them by just doing one activity with them in the class, or to include just one of these strategies that I'm going to tell you like one day. No, children will need to practice them over and over and over again, okay? And through the process, they are going to make mistakes. Yes, and that's okay because they are learning, but they will get there, okay? So we have to tell them all the time how, model them how, remind them how, okay? All the time. So they get to make that connections in their brain. So they are able to develop these competencies. And you will have to be patient, yes? And as you develop them, or as you help your students develop them, love your students through the process, okay? Love them. That is very important, all right? Okay. Oh, and something that I want to tell you, and that's something that's not a secret. These competencies are going to be developed, and maybe when we get to the adulthood, like 21 years old, more or less, we're going to finally develop them all, okay? So it takes time, all right? Okay, so let's start with the first one, self-awareness. So to be able to understand self-awareness, we need to answer these questions. What is the name of the emotion that I am feeling? And where am I feeling that emotion in my body? Okay, that is self-awareness. All right, so emotions come out automatically. I cannot control them. I can't. Yes, it is a body reaction towards something that is happening inside of me. That can be my thoughts, or maybe I feel sick, and so I react in a certain way because of something that is happening inside me or outside of me, something that is happening around in the environment. Yes, so emotions are very personal and we cannot control them, all right? So when I feel an emotion in my body, I need to know, what is this emotion that I am feeling? Yes? And so feelings are the names that we give to the emotions that we are feeling to recognize them. So feelings and emotions are not the same. The emotion is my reaction, the reaction that I have in my body, yes? And the feeling is the name that I put to that reaction, okay? So, for example, if I am feeling happy in my body, maybe I'm going to feel happy here in my cheeks, yes? So every time I feel happy and I feel my emotion here in my cheeks and I can stop smiling, then I'm going to say, oh, when my body reacts this way and I'm feeling this way, I can tell that I am feeling happy, yes? So that's why we get the names of the feelings that we know: happy, sad, angry, disgust, etc. All right? So to develop self-awareness, we need to connect first to our bodies, okay? So then we can manage the feelings that we're feeling. That is another competency. But first, I need to connect with my body. Why? Because remember, first I need to manipulate with my hands. I need to connect with my body. we go from concrete to abstract. Yes, we first manipulate and then we're able to reason. All right. So to develop self-awareness, first I need to know the names, yes, of the emotions that I'm feeling. So what can you do to develop self-awareness in the classroom? Okay, so first of all, we want students to say, hey, I am feeling this way. And I am feeling that emotion in my body. So they are going to need to share. So if you want your students to share, the first thing that you have to do is to create an environment in your class where your children feel safe, loved, seen, and accepted. So they want to share how they feel. If they don't feel that they are safe in an environment that you create in their class, they are going to be shy and they are not going to want to share how they feel. So this is super, super important, teachers, all right? And if we want them to say how they are feeling in English, of course that we can use our flashcards and we can teach the vocabulary words, you know, for the feelings. And we can also use posters. But we know that if we include music when we are learning, then we learn better. So why not including songs about feelings to learn the names of the feelings? We're having fun, we're going to remember the names, and we create also a nice environment when we're singing, right? So include songs about feelings and sing them as part of your daily routine. And after you sing, ask your students how they feel and where they are feeling that feeling in their bodies, all right? So here are some ideas that I want to give to you so you can help your children share, all right? So one of the activities that you can do is to toss a ball, all right? So you toss a ball and one of the students gets a ball and then you ask, how do you feel today? And the student is going to answer, I feel happy. What do you feel happy in your body? Feel it here, all right? Then that student can either toss the ball back to you or toss the ball to another student, and that student can ask the question and the student that is getting the ball is going to answer. So there you are drilling, yes? So you are drilling while you're also developing self-awareness. You see? So you cannot teach English while you develop self-competencies, all right? Okay, so you can also play hot potato. You can ask your students to sit in a circle, you give one of the students a ball, you play some music, students pass the ball around, you stop the music, and the child that is holding the ball has to answer the question. Yes, and then you continue. But what happens when children still don't feel that safe to share and to be exposed to others? Okay, I have some ideas for you too, all right? So if you feel that your students are not sharing or they are hiding, like, don't ask me, should I do the ball? Okay, make them share with the whole group, all right? So you can say, okay, everybody stand up. And at the count of 3, you're going to mime how you feel today, okay? So 1, 2, 3, how do you feel today? If they feel angry or if they feel happy or if they feel sad. So they mime, but they are in the group. So nobody's really going to notice. Yes. Yes, but everybody's doing it. They are not being exposed, okay? Another thing, if they don't want to share, like in front of the group, you can give them a set of cards with the feelings and they can look for the feeling that they are feeling and show you the card, or maybe just put the card on one of the corners of their table, and then you can just walk around and look at how they are feeling that day, okay? You can also do some TPR. Okay, so how do you feel today? If you're feeling happy, clap your hands. If you are feeling sad, give yourself a hug. If you're feeling angry, stomp your feet, and they stomp their feet, okay? So you can also do some TPR, or they can also write how they feel and show you how they feel, okay? Now, for little kids, young kids that have not yet developed a secure attachment with you, it might be difficult for them to share how they feel. So if you use a puppet, it's going to be very useful. Why? Because maybe they are not going to want to speak to you, but they are going to want to speak to the puppet, because puppets are their friends. Yes, they have them at home. They are like stuffed animals. And so they are their friends. Puppets are children's first friends in a way, right? So they are going to want to share with the puppet, okay? Okay, now something important. If you see a child struggling with a big feeling, take the time to speak one-on-one to them while the others are quietly working or working individually. You don't necessarily have to go outside of the classroom and talk to them, but you can just touch their shoulder and tell them, are you okay? Do you need any help? And if they do, find that time to talk to this person, to talk to this child, okay? And yes, teachers, you're going to have to use language one. Why? Because if they trust you and they want to share with you how they are feeling, maybe they are not going to have the words in English to tell you, okay? And what we want is that they tell you how they are feeling because you want to help them, right? So it's okay to use language one, okay? So take the time to do it. And if you think that they need extra help, ask for help, all right? Okay, now I know what I'm feeling. I can recognize what I'm feeling in my body. And so now what do I do with this? So this is the second competency, self-management, okay? So to be able to develop self-management, I have to answer, what can I do to manage the emotions that I'm feeling? Yes, so I'm feeling super angry. Yes, I know that. Okay, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling angry here and here in my face. What can I do to manage the emotions that I'm feeling? I have to tolerate that emotion in my body. Yes, so it's here. Yes, and I need it to go away. So then I am able to think clearly and then to find a solution or to know what I'm going to do afterwards. Okay? So something very important. I need to calm my body first, so then I am able to calm my mind. That is super important. Remember, we go from concrete to abstract. Yes? So what can you do to develop self-management in the classroom? Include mindful moments in your class, teachers. Super important. Okay, so teach your brain to calm down so that when it needs to calm down, it does it automatically. Okay, so you will need to practice these mindful moments. And apart from that, mindful moments help reduce stress and anxiety. Okay, do you remember that I told you that stress and anxiety are not good friends of learning? Okay, so if you want your students to learn, we have to reduce those feelings, yes. And they also, mindful moments also improve concentration, memory, and creativity. And these are skills that are essential to learn, all right? So I told you you have to practice. Well, you can practice at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the class. At the beginning, you can include mindful moments as part of your daily routine to set your students' mind, yes? Maybe they are coming back from another class or from recess and they are hyper. So you need to help them set their mind so they connect with you and they start paying attention to you, okay, and to your class. In the middle of the class, because maybe they feel like super tired after a heavy learning period, yes, or maybe they finish an exam, or maybe You play the game and everybody is super hyper and laughing and that, and you need to reconnect with them so you can give them the next instruction, okay? So you can use these mindful moments as transitional activities in the classroom, okay? And remember that these transitional activities have to go after 15 or 20 minutes of being working with the students, and that has to do with the attention span. Remember, the attention span is the age of your students by 3. Okay, so if your students are 3 years old, by 3, they're going to pay attention to you, or they're going to focus on an activity from 9 to 10 minutes. If they are 6 years old, by 3, from 18 to 20 minutes. So that's why you have to include these transitional activities every 15 to 20 minutes, okay? So they can reconnect again. At the end of the class, because you can use this as a wrap up, and then they are calmed down, and then they are ready to start their new class. And the teacher that is coming after you, oh, they are going to thank you so much, because when they come in, maybe your students are laying on their desk waiting for their teacher, for their next teacher, you know, and that is an act of kindness. Teachers, so you can also do that, all right? Okay. So what ideas you can use to include in your lesson plan? Okay, the first one, sorry. Okay, so you can ask them to breathe in and out, like, and you release tension, yeah? If you do that right now, oh my God, it is really very nice to do this. It feels good. Okay, so you reconnect. And then you can also ask them to observe a thing for a minute, okay? Anything that they have on their desk, anything. So you ask them to focus on observing the characteristics of an object for a minute. Why? Because we are going to teach our brain to focus on the present, not in the past, because maybe in the past they had a problem in recess and they felt a big feeling. Not in the future, because maybe they have an exam with you that day, and so they are feeling anxious because the exam is coming, okay? Or they are feeling super sad because they are still remembering what happened to them at recess. So thinking or focusing in the past or in the future make us feel stressed and depressed or anxious. And we don't want that. We want them to focus on the present, okay? So this activity can help. You can also ask them to breathe in and out and release tension from the feet, legs, tummy, your arms, your hands, your face, your whole body. You breathe in and out as you put pressure and release tension, okay? That can also help. And you can also have a diary of emotions, okay? Where you ask your students to answer every day as part of your daily routine. What are you thinking? How do you feel about that? What are you doing? What do you think you should do? Okay? There are other very important activities that Emma Reynolds is going to share with you. So when we finish this webinar, don't forget to stay, okay? To listen to her. Okay, now something important. If you see a child is overwhelmed with a big feeling and comes to you crying or shouting or talking too fast, you have to model how to calm down so they can calm down too. Okay, so if they are like, okay, you have to, okay. And you do these, teachers, you have to model, you have to do this. You put one of your hands on your cheek, like your left hand on your left cheek, and your right hand on your heart. And then you talk to them, and then you tell them, yes, sweetie, I see that you're angry, okay? So put your hand on your cheek and your heart, and your other hand on your heart. Okay, can you feel how fast it is beating? Okay, let's calm down, okay? Let's breathe in together. Again. And after a couple of minutes, you ask them, can you feel that your heart is beating a little bit slower? Yes? Okay. Are you ready to tell me what is going on? Okay, tell me. So you model how to calm down, so they calm down too, teachers. They are not going to do this by themselves. And you can not just tell them, okay, honey, calm down. Yes, but they don't know how. So you have to tell them how. You have to model how, all right? Because children see, children do. You model, they copy, okay? Now, brain things that I love to share with you. Okay. Children plug their nervous system into the nervous system of the adults who take care of them, all right? If the adult knows how to self-regulate, the children will also know how to self-regulate. If the adult doesn't know how to self-regulate, children will not know how to self-regulate. So be careful, yes? If you shout, they shout. If you calm down, they calm down, all right? And well, this is an extra bonus of developing self-management in the classroom. Teachers, look at this, and this is for you. If you teach self-management, then you're going to have a better control of the class. So teaching self-management is a win-win for you and for your students. So yeah, this is amazing, right? Okay. Now, the third competency is social awareness. So to develop social awareness, we need to answer these questions. Why do others feel, think, and act differently than me? How can I put myself in others' shoes to understand why others feel, think, and act differently than me? Okay, so to develop social awareness, we need to be able to read others' body language. Oops. That's why it's so important to understand first how we feel and how our body reacts. So then we can recognize how others feel too. Yes? So first, I need to develop self-awareness and self-management. Yes? So I recognize how I feel and what I'm feeling in my body. So then if someone is feeling that way, I can say, oh, he's also feeling happy, or oh, he's also feeling angry, because I have experienced that myself. All right? So can you see how these competencies are connected in a way and build upon each other? Yes? Okay. And so something very important, reading helps us develop social awareness, teachers. And it helps us build empathy too. This is beautiful. Reading transforms us as it helps us connect with other people. And I'm going to explain you why in a minute, and you're going to love this. All right, are you ready? Okay, so several studies by Dr. Marr from the York University show that when we read about an action that a character is doing, the areas that are required to carry out those actions also activate in our brains. Okay, so if I am reading, for example, of a person and that person is walking, yes, my brain is imagining the person walking. So if I were connected, you know, to a computer, in the computer, you could see that my brain that is reading about that person that is walking, my brain will activate those areas, okay? As if my brain were walking too. Yes? So when we experience we experience reading a story as if we were the actual characters. The brain, when it's imagining, it's thinking that it is real. So that's why when we read, we can also laugh and we can cry, yeah? Because we're feeling the feelings that the characters are feeling. To the brain, reading is like, it's real, okay? So this is because of the mirror neurons, which make us imitate what others do since we are born, okay? And so what can you do to develop social awareness in the classroom? We have to read stories. And before reading a story, ask your students to predict how the characters feel by just looking at the pictures, okay? So don't read, don't start. Just look at the pictures and tell me, how do you think the characters feel? And predict what the story is going to be about. While reading the story, you can also ask them to predict how the characters feel. And from time to time, you can ask them to stop the reading and ask questions. So they start, you know, putting themselves in others' shoes. What would you do if you were the character in the story? How would you feel and think? How would you feel, think, and act? Would you do it the same way as the character did in the story? Why? For example, if you're reading The Three Little Pigs, you can ask them, what would you do if you were the wolf? Would you do the same? Would you try to eat the pigs? Yes or no? And why? Okay. What do you think the wolf was feeling? Okay. And after reading the story, have children discuss in small groups what they think happened to the character that made them feel that way and act that way. And you can also ask them to role play the story, because when we role play, then we're really portraying all the feelings that the characters in the story are feeling. Yes? So we're helping to develop this social awareness. Okay. And so another competency, very important, relationship skills, super important. Okay. So to develop relationship skills, we need to answer these questions. How can I be part of a group and be accepted? How can I create healthy relationships with others? How can I be a good team member when I work with others in a group? How can I be a good friend? Oh my God, this is so important, right? So, so important. So important that look at this fact. Relationship skills are as necessary as eating and drinking water because we need others to survive. Yes? We need to be part of a group, yes or yes? Yes. And as I was telling you, if we feel rejected, we activate the flight, fight, or freeze response, and we would develop these feelings of anxiousness, stress, and depression because our permanence in the group is in jeopardy. What is going to happen if they kick me out of the group? If I do not belong to a community, I can die. The brain doesn't want you to die because the brain, I told you that the first thing that it wants to do is to keep you alive. Yes? So that's why we do not want to feel rejected. Yes? Or negative feelings. But if we feel accepted, then we can create secure attachment with the people that is in our community and in a group. Yes. So I feel accepted. I feel love. I feel seen. I feel that I belong. I belong. I'm going to survive. Yes. So I develop positive emotions. So you have to make your children feel they all belong to the class. All of them. All your children, even the ones who misbehave, yes, those two. And the ones who never pay attention, you have to make them feel they belong to. And the ones that nobody wants, and oh my God, you got them this year? Yes, especially those ones. You have to make your children feel they belong to your class. Yes? You have to love all your children and accept them with all their weaknesses and their strengths. Okay? And if you do that, you're going to make a difference in that child. The child that nobody wants, but you love, you're going to make a difference in that child. Yes? And you're going to change his life. And they are never going to forget you. Okay, teachers? Okay, so creating a secure attachment with your children is essential to become successful teachers and help your children become successful learners too. All right? Okay, so what can you do to develop relationship skills in the classroom? Okay, so make your group feel you are all a big family. See those who feel unseen. Recognize your strengths. Promote equality and fairness when playing games and doing activities. Set rules and be firm. That makes them feel safe. Trust in your children by letting them develop independence. Promote teamwork. Give roles like captain, helper, secretary, and timekeeper. Give children strategies to communicate effectively. And you can have like these cards, okay? Stop, go, or the ear or mouth. And so sometimes they are fighting in a group. And so, okay, you give one of them the ear and the other one the mouth. The one that gets the ear, your turn is to listen. The one that gets the mouth, your turn is to speak, okay? And as one is speaking, the other one is in silence and is listening. Then they switch, and then the one that was speaking has the ear. Now you cannot speak, and your turn is to listen. And you can do that to promote effective communication and to make your students listen to each other and be able to talk, you know, when they need to. Also, ask your children to listen attentively to others, like the power of making eye contact. Okay, so we always say 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. And before you give an instruction, you check that everybody's looking at you, because then that means that they are paying attention to you, and that shows respect. So when someone is presenting, one of your students is in the front, at the front of the classroom and is presenting something, ask the other ones to look at them, because that shows respect and that helps build relationship skills. Ask children to have different responsibilities in the classroom too, because if we take care of the classroom, then we feel that we belong, okay? And super important, teachers, you are a model for your children to build healthy relationship skills. You are the model. So when they see how you develop relationship skills with them, creating an environment where you promote respect and tolerance and kindness and love, you are helping to model healthy relationship skills. When they see how you work well with other teachers at school, you are modeling how to build healthy relationship skills. When they see how you treat others, you are modeling how to build healthy relationship skills. So remember, children see what we do all the time and learn from us. So we have to be very careful. We are models all the time, not only in school, but outside the school too, okay? And the last competency, responsible decision-making. So to develop this competency, we have to answer these questions. How can I control my impulses to first think before choosing? And how can I know that what I'm choosing is right for me? Oh, this is like, oh my God, to take a decision, right? It's difficult, but we're choosing all the time. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed, we are choosing, right? And some of the decisions that we make are small and some others are big. But all of the decisions that we take affect how we act, think, and feel. Yes? Sometimes it's hard to decide because we don't know what's going to happen. Still, we have to make a decision. But sometimes that makes us feel stressed and anxious. Yes? Because making a wrong decision can put us in danger, and making a good decision can keep us safe. So that's why making decisions is something that we have to take seriously. Okay? So what can we do to make good decisions? The first thing is that we have to learn to control our impulses. We have to learn to, okay, I need to take a decision. No, wait, before taking the decision. Stop, and take some seconds to analyze the possible scenarios, the pros and the cons, okay? And then, okay, you analyze them, now you choose, okay? You accept the consequences. But what I chose was not good. That's okay, we can make mistakes. And what's going to happen with a mistake? That's going to give us experience, and we learn from there, okay? So it doesn't matter if we make a good decision and it was not a good decision, yes, we learn from it and we next time are going to be more careful about how we decide. Yes? Okay, so as we grow, our brain learns to inhibit impulses so we can follow the rules of the community we live in. Following the rules helps us belong and survive. And learning to control our impulses also helps us self-regulate so we can learn to wait, take turns, and reflect before acting. Okay, so what can you do to develop responsible decision-making in the classroom? You have to include activities to help control our impulses, like mazes, memory games, put events in order, with cards or a scrambled story, play Simon Says, or play Stroop. Okay, so I don't know if you know about Stroop, but it is not a game. It is actually a test. But don't tell your students that it's a test because they're going to say, oh, no. Make it a game. And right now, I want you to feel in firsthand what it is to control our impulses and to inhibit the impulse of doing something. Ready? Okay, so let's read together the first block of words, okay? Okay, let's do it. Red, yellow, green, red, blue, green, yellow, blue, green, red, blue, yellow. That was easy, right? And I did it very quickly. Now, let's say the names of the colors. Ready? Red, yellow, green, red, blue, green, yellow, blue, green, red, blue, yellow. That was also very quickly, right? Because my brain knows the colors and the words. What are you talking about, Lorena? Block 3. Now, listen, teachers. You are going to say the color, not the word. Ready? Do it with me. Green, red, blue, yellow, red, blue, green, red, yellow, green, red, blue. Yes? Okay, so what happened? I took my time to inhibit my impulse to say the word because my brain already knows that word. Yes? And to say the color instead. So when we play this game, well, this test that is called Stroop, we are inhibiting our impulse to say what we are used to saying. Yes? We are taking some seconds to stop, to block my impulse and to do something else, to think. And that's what we want students to learn to do, to stop for seconds to be able to reflect, okay? Okay, so we need to practice this a lot, remember, all right? We can also offer children different moments where they can analyze real life situations or situations they read in stories, okay? What is the problem? What are the possible decisions we can make? What are the pros and cons of each decision? What do we finally decide and why? Now, if a student gets into trouble, have them fill out a reflection paper, okay? And ask them, what happened? What decision did I make? Was that a good decision or a wrong decision? How do I know? What could I have done differently? What can I do next time? And what are the consequences of my decision? Okay, so teachers, by developing self-competencies in the classroom, we're helping our children learn how to be aware of what they're feeling, learn how to manage what they're feeling, understand how others feel, learn how to work well with others, learn how to take good decisions. And if we do this, teachers, we're doing our part to help the world be a better place to live. Because we're going to learn to respect each other, tolerate each other, accept each other, and feel loved and seen. Yes? So, teachers, remember, the best of life is in your hands, and that's your children. I wish you really the best of lucks and all the success that you deserve to have. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you find all this information useful. And I will see you soon in another webinar. Thank you very much for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you, Lorena. But before you go, there are several questions in the chat, and I've tried to narrow them down a little bit so that we can answer as much as we can. Basically, there's a big strand of questions related to what to do in different circumstances. Somebody asked how to help calm students down in an online class. Somebody asked how to how to handle teenagers, because a lot of the things that you mentioned at the beginning, especially, were more oriented to small children. And there's a very interesting question from one of the attendees. She says she works in a school for people with like special needs, or not special needs, but it says vulnerable contexts, and how to be able to manage their emotions in that situation where it's not one person, but it's everybody who's in a vulnerable context.
Okay, so remember that I told you that you need to develop a secure attachment with your children. Okay, so when children, okay, so children that are in a vulnerable context didn't develop a secure attachment with their primary caregivers. Yes, they develop a different form of attachment. So they don't trust people, and they are always activating their fight, flight, or freeze response because they feel threatened all the time. Their primary caregivers or their environment where they're living maybe didn't solve their basic needs when they were born. Yes, and so what do we need to do? No matter the environment where they come from, when they go to school, they have to feel safe, and they have to feel safe with you. Yes, we have to develop a secure attachment with these students. And maybe school is the only place where they're going to feel safe. And you are the only person where they're going to to feel safe to be around. Yes, so you have to be their safe person to be with, and the classroom has to be their safe place to be. So so you have to get to earn their trust and their confidence. That's what you have to do to develop secure attachment. How? Love them. Look at their strengths. Praise the things that they do okay. Do a lot of positive feedback with them. You know, make them feel seen, because sometimes they feel unseen, and that's why they are like that and they react that way. That's what I can tell you about.
Thank you very much, Lorena. And that counts also for the online classes, for the teenagers, for our children. That counts for absolutely everybody.
Yes.
These have been,
sorry,
go ahead.
It will be very helpful if you want to read about attachment theory. So yes, read about attachment theory and how to apply that in the classroom, because that is going to help you a little bit more.
These have been some amazing tips. Thank you very much. I learned a lot, and I'm sure from the comments here that everybody has learned a lot. So thank you very much, Lorena.
Thank you so much.
Obviously, everything that Lorena mentioned, you can do without any material at all. However, if you want to work with some material that will help you, we have a brand new book, which is called Learning Well, that will help nurture a sense of well-being for everybody who makes making learning English a positive experience. Right? It is very useful to have material that will help you in this direction. We'll also have practical support for managing mixed ability groups, which is very important. That's where students sometimes feel vulnerable when they feel like their English is not at the right level, right? So this will also help them feel more secure, more calm in the class. And finally, we have a solid grammar and vocabulary practice with a comprehensive language skills development program, so that students will also not just, be well and be happy, but learn English very, very well. So please, do not hesitate to check here in macmillanenglish.com/learning well if you want to learn more about this amazing series.